Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk here at RSA 2023. Terry Sweeney here with Dark Reading, and joining me now is Geoff Bibby, Senior Vice President of OpenText Cybersecurity, Marketing and Strategy. Geoff, welcome to Dark Reading News Desk.
Thanks, Terry. Really appreciate the opportunity to join you today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. OpenText recently released the OpenText Cybersecurity Global Threat Report.
Yep.
Tell us about some of the highlights and maybe some of the standouts there.
Sure, yeah. So we've been doing this long-standing report that is a powerful way for us to be able to, describe what we're seeing in the market. And, some of the, two of the kind of bigger highlights were that we are seeing, on the positive side, let me start with that. So on the positive side, we are seeing that there's actually a reduction in the amount of malware that we're seeing in smaller organizations. But unfortunately, the counterbalance to that is that we are still seeing that there's a substantial amount of increased activity for organizations that are 500 FTEs and above. And also disappointingly, but maybe not surprisingly, that the expense of required to pay ransomware has doubled since we did the report last year. So getting more expensive, and still larger organizations, I guess mid-market to enterprise, are still getting hit pretty hard. So.
Is this the Dillinger principle? That's where all the money is, kind of thing?
I guess so. Yeah, it's still pretty lucrative to be on the bad team. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Any other standpoints? Any other data points that stood out in particular?
Yeah, we were just talking about that actually. So the another big one is the fact that I would hope it's an obvious one, but maybe not, given the amount of continuous activity we see. But to us, it should be obvious that a multi-layered approach is required. And so, of businesses that were surveyed, those that had 3 layers of defense experienced a 40% less of an effect. And so they just have better safeguards in place. And so, there is certainly, it works if you put the appropriate controls in place.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
The Global Threat Report focused primarily on the issues facing small and medium businesses. You mentioned that larger businesses are more prone to the amount of malware that they're up against. Can you talk about some of the other issues they're facing?
Sure, large organizations.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we. So the OpenText Cybersecurity story has found its way into working with the larger organizations a lot more lately, because of the fact that we recently acquired 4 very prestigious enterprise brands. So we have ArcSight, Fortify, NetIQ, and Voltage, and they only know one part of the market to be in, which is large enterprises. And so we spent a lot of time working on threat identification all the way to threat remediation with organizations that, with larger shops. And and so, we're doing a lot with that area, and then just a lot with actually a completely different part of the market, which is focused on application security. And, before we even get to the user training aspect of things, focused on, what we're going to do with just doing a better job of coding securely, of developing app security.
Well, since so much of code is copied and reused, to your point, starting at the beginning obviates a lot of headaches down the road. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually have that, and so talking about the reuse, or say we're going to use open source. We actually have another really powerful offering there, specifically designed for SMB, which is the brand is a somewhat little known one, which is called Debricked. But it's a really powerful tool for being able to do software composition analysis, and so specifically for open source. And so if you are going to do a project that does, it's going to invoke open source, which is often the case, then we have an offering for that as well. So it's the OpenText story is pretty deep.
Well, it sounds like what you're describing is a fair amount of strategic integration. How do you see this addressing the needs of security practitioners with the portfolio in place?
Well, we have, it's actually, so I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't know of too many other stories, honestly, that are as end-to-end as ours. And so whether you want to talk about it from a route to market standpoint of, as we talked about earlier, really large enterprises with the brands we have, SMB, we're very strong with the mid-market and small, medium-sized businesses. But what's unique is all the way down to consumer with our WebRoot and Carbonite. And so then you blend in, the different spectrum of security that we offer, which we talked about, going all the way to code development and dev, all the way through to if you happen to have, one of the things we're not talking about today too much, but is if you happen to, unfortunately, many of your security controls, if all of that stuff didn't do what it's supposed to do, we offer really powerful recovery and migrate services as well. So there's a cyber resilience side to it. With Carbonite gets you back up and working again. If you needed a backup offering, there's backup, there's archive. And so it's not so much about the point solutions that we offer as much as it is we offer a very, very strong story right from one end to the other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really great take at the whole strategic integration. Thanks so much for stopping by News Desk.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
We've been talking with Geoff Bibby of OpenText. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.